Hello and welcome to Culture Shocked, the pop culture podcast brought to you by three aging millennials and our outdated opinions. A while back, Adrian and I did a collaboration with Bubbawheat over at the Fight Club Minute podcast, a minute-by-minute breakdown of the entire movie with different guest podcasters in each episode. We were slotted in for the minutes 52, 53, and 54. We talked about Marla's weird-ass apartment, sex so loud that it shakes the whole house, and some really messed up things about being fucked in grade school. If you've seen the movie, you know the line I'm talking about. We will be releasing these in 3 parts over the next few weeks. I'd say more, but technically, I'm not supposed to talk about it. So sit back, watch this amazing movie, and relax.
I am Jack's 53rd minute. I start with Marla being done for unless Tyler keeps her up all night. And I end with Marla hasn't been like that since grade school. I'm your host, Bubbawheat, and my co-host's Raging Balduck has been acting up, so Lance Stanford won't be here today. But our guests are predators posing as a house cat from Culture Shocked, Adrian and Corey. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Bubbawheat. Thanks for having us.
Doing good, buddy. I call Predator 1.
All right, and on our Wednesday's episode, I like to have a little fun and ask you guys, if you had to fight any celebrity, living or dead, who would it be? Let's start with Corey today.
This one all came down to a financial decision for me, and I would fight Floyd Mayweather because the purse, even for losing to that man, is so large that I'll take a beating. That's fine.
It'd be like Homer fighting Drederick Tatum in The Simpsons.
Yeah, except funnier.
I also want to point out how funny it is that Corey said, even if you lose, there's a chance he could win.
I mean, there's always a chance.
There's always a chance they could have a heart attack and
he could have a brain aneurysm while we're fighting.
If he had a heart attack in the ring, Floyd Mayweather, he'd probably fall over hitting you and you'd get knocked out. This guy can't lose.
I would still find a way to lose that fight.
So Adrian, what's your choice?
Well, I'll be quick here. I'll be brief, but as I'm one to do, I overanalyze, and I actually made a little brief list here. So I have a couple people in a couple different fields, but I have some actors, couple musicians, and maybe 1 or 2 political figures. So getting the political figures out of the way, not without being controversial as to my reasons. Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson.
Of course.
I would knock both of them out for obvious reasons. Musicians, Kanye for sure. Jared Leto, I have as musician / actor.
Yeah, you're not the first person to call him out.
Yeah. Jeremy Renner, I have no facts to back this up. He's always seemed like a jerk to me. I would say another word, but we're PG here. He's always seemed like a big a-hole, though. I have no merit to that. He has a punchable face.
Really? I've always got the impression that he is a super nice guy. Everything that I've heard about him, especially after his snowplow accidents, just having a snowplow fall on him because he was out helping some random neighbor.
Right.
I think Adrian's taken that mostly from his character in The Town. He is a little prick.
Probably.
Easily hated in that movie. So,
and then my last one's, of course, James Corden, because no list is complete without punching James Corden.
I don't know why I'd punch him too.
Yeah, I think you're also not the first person to say James Corden either.
And then my last 2 is Mariah Carey, but only in December. And then lastly, Betty White for an easy win.
Nice.
Well, she's 5'4" and dead, so.
I mean, the question does say living or dead, so.
Yeah, but you didn't say whether or not they come back to life. You just said dead.
Oh, a Betty White zombie. Betty White Lives, part 6.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into today's minutes. I'm not 100% sure what Tyler is making. I'm guessing that he's making coffee because that seems like that's the pan that they had been making coffee out of earlier in the movie.
I was assuming it was either coffee or some kind of detox that he knew about to help flush that out of her system. Something like that.
Tyler Durden is so mysterious. It could be coffee, it could be napalm. We don't know.
Yeah.
That's what's so awesome about him.
It could
It's
even
like-
just randomly be making soap. Just
He could be making soap. He's like one of those guys that you're just like what is it? Wedding Crashers. What's he doing in there? I never know what he's doing. And that's what makes him so cool.
And then this line delivery from Helena Bonham Carter, it's the weirdest come on ever, because it's like she's saying it with a mix of just being absolutely high as a kite, but also with this come hither element to it.
And it would work on 100% of guys.
Yeah, she's definitely fighting through the high at that moment.
Yeah.
She's struggling.
And then we jump back to Tyler and Jack. And I think that this interaction between the two of them is interesting to break down with the fact that this is one person talking to himself.
Yeah.
Because Tyler asks Jack if he's already screwed her, but he asks in a way as if he already expected the answer to be yes, because the answer technically is yes.
Personality as Tyler trying to find out, like, are you becoming aware that we're the same person? And then when he said no, he's like, oh, you're still not aware.
Yeah. And he's
I
like,
took that as him like, wow, you still don't know.
yeah, and he asks again with never, and then he gets the no. And then he asks if, are you into her? And then he goes real hard. He's like, no, God, no, not at all.
And then that long off stare of lust. Clearly he likes her.
Yeah, it feels like that element of methinks the lady doth protest too much.
But to be fair to Jack, I have also slept with women that I wasn't into. Yeah, you're right though. The most interesting dynamic in that conversation is definitely like Tyler saying like, you don't like her, do you? That's just like, because it seems like on the surface it's like, oh, it's one of these stories where a girl's gonna get in these guys' way, like it's that Hollywood trope of the girl interfering with friends.
Yeah, it did feel like maybe they were faking throwing that at you, like that
starting to like separate our two characters.
Yeah,
and then they just do a complete 180 on that trope.
Yeah, and then it also turned like this two-way conversation, which is already a one-way conversation, turns into a three-way conversation, which is still a one-way conversation, because we get the voiceover narration with Jack saying, "I am Jack's raging bile duct."
I think the inner narration is Jack and the outer narration is narrator. The things he says out loud is narrator, and the things he says in his head are Jack.
So does that make Tyler Marla? I'm confused.
So how many people are in this movie?
Yeah, right.
One.
This is a movie that requires like a Venn diagram, a spreadsheet. So if you didn't get this for your first time watching, don't blame yourself. Don't feel bad.
And I also feel like the line, "I am Jack's raging bile duct," is a much better line than the more typical 90s response of "don't make me puke."
Yeah. It was a very clever way to say the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
And then he immediately goes real hard into put a gun to my head and paint the wall with my brains, which again, that's a very visual description of like just kill me now. And it also does so many things, because he actually does do this later in the movie. So it is a weird bit of foreshadowing, and subtle foreshadowing too.
That's true. It does come back around. And I always felt like that was like right out of a song. That's like a lyric.
Yeah, it feels very emo.
It does.
Feels very Jared Leto.
Destroy something beautiful.
And it also it also creates this mirror between Jack and Marla, because they're both having these like suicidal ideations, even though Jack's is arguably much more sarcastic. Like, he's not really thinking about blowing his head out, but still he's basically talking about suicide, while Marla is actively trying to commit suicide.
Which is exactly why Marla doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's all one thought.
But it's also like why those two characters are actually right for each other. And like that's why Jack does actually like and is interested in Marla, even though he doesn't even actively know it at this point.
And in the world of romance, broken things love broken things, and that's just the way it is. You almost want to find yourself something a little more broken than you, so you feel good about yourself. And in their case, it goes back and forth of which one is more broken.
Yeah, which that's that toss it. That's a toss up, I would say.
Yeah.
Plus, if you get with someone more broken than you can point and laugh at them. I'm 10% less messed up than you.
I may be broken, but I'm not that broken.
All right, I'm not Seether.
Oh man, nice. Featuring
nailed that joke. Yeah, but I don't know if it's weirder to watch their dynamic here as far as Tyler and Marla before you know the twist or after. Because both ways it paints a very different picture. But like I said before, it's more like the jealousy thing, like, oh, I don't really like her anyway, so you can sleep with her, but I kind of am infatuated with her secretly. But then after, it's like, it's the same guy. So like, is he having these conflicting feelings in his own head? Like he thinks he hates her, but he also thinks he might love her? Or is it at this point he really doesn't think he likes her? He thinks it's just a fling and he ends up liking her more?
Yeah, I think it's, and we talked about this earlier and during the support groups, that he is basically obsessed with her because he doesn't necessarily realize that he likes her because she is so much like him, like they are so similar to each other. But he even says like her lie reflects my lie. And in the moment, he doesn't like that because he sees the bad parts of himself in her.
Yeah.
Everything he's been lying about to make himself feel better in these meetings, he's now seeing somebody do it from the outside, like, oh, that prick.
Yeah.
Like you're watching somebody do what you've been doing and pretend you're not doing.
Right. And she's a tourist.
She's making him feel bad about what he's doing.
Hypocrisy. Yeah. That name is Jack Tyler, the narrator.
And Marla.
And Marla, somehow.
Yeah. And then of course we get this other just iconic line from this movie. I'll have to bleep it out, but I haven't been like that since grade school. And I think it's fantastic because especially in the commentary, Helena Bonham Carter talks about how she didn't fully understand that line whenever she said it because, she's coming from the UK. And so they have different terminology for school. And she thought that grade school was just another name for public school, basically.
Yeah, she didn't realize it was like 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade.
Right.
Yeah. It is iconic, but it always sat kind of weird with me. Like, how am I supposed to take that?
Maybe, that may have been better. Like, because she didn't realize what it was, she acted straight through it instead of being weird about it. So maybe her not knowing helped in that scene a little bit. Yeah,
because over in the UK, it's like, what they say, like grade 10 and grade 11, like
kindergarten.
Yeah, I think so.
Kindergarten's the same, but then I think it's just grade.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Until they go to university.
A strange line you even see after she delivers it, like the kind of look Tyler gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks like he looks at the camera too.
Yeah.
I hope they didn't tell Brad Pitt that line was coming.
Right.
And that was just a legitimate reaction, like, damn.
Well, do you guys know what the original line was?
No.
Yeah, the original line in the script was, "I want to have your abortion."
Oh my God.
I guess that would have been just as messed up.
Yeah, the studio said that was too far, and they asked them. They said, "You have to change this line." And David Fincher is like, "Okay, we will change the line, but on one condition. The condition is you have to accept the new line, no matter what it is."
That's awesome. Are we talking about Fight Club or Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake?
Boy.
Too soon.
Oh boy.
Topical. Of course, it won't be by the time this comes out.
Oh yeah, damn it! What an old joke. Maybe I should predict something like a few weeks from now. I got nothing.
And honestly, I don't think I ever noticed that Brad Pitt looks to camera. It's almost like the punchline to the joke. Like he's looking at the audience, like, "Did you just hear her say that?"
Yeah.
Which
they can get away with Brad Pitt's character because he's technically not real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every time I rewatch the movie, I just find like another funny thing about it, and sometimes maybe shouldn't be funny, but I always find something new while still leaving such an impact.
Yeah, there's so much like doing this. I've really discovered and learned so much more about this movie, even though I've seen it many times before doing this.
Yeah, I guess
And
taking a deeper look and watching scenes over and over again, you probably see a lot more.
Yeah, and you're taking like diligent notes for every 60 seconds. Yeah, you'll know this movie like better than Fincher.
pretty much. And then like really the last line in this minute is Jack mentioning that that of course she appeals to Tyler because the night before last he was splicing sex organs into Cinderella.
I love that line.
And I think it's great, but of course I did look. I was curious because Cinderella and a lot of the old Disney movies did have a lot of re-releases. Because the original Disney Cinderella came out in 1950, and that was Disney's really that was their first success after a long string of flops, and like they were almost bankruptcy, and the Cinderella was one of the movies that kind of brought them back. And it was also re-released in theaters in 57 and 65, 73, 81, and 87, which is still over 10 years before this movie takes place. So I don't think that he would have actually been splicing it into Disney Cinderella.
Right.
And does that make either of you think that maybe that's Tyler Durden's knowledge of movies coming out in his brain?
It could be. The other thing that I was curious, because I also looked up other Cinderella adaptations to see if there was one that would fit in this timeline. And there was the 1998 Drew Barrymore film Ever After.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, I don't remember if I ever saw it or anything about it, but now that you say that, the title it's ringing.
Yeah, I've also never seen that one. I am aware of it. I know it's like kind of a different adaptation. Like I believe that there's some fantasy to it, and it's kind of a period, but it's also a bit more realistic, and it's like not a modern take, but it's a different take on Cinderella. And I believe whenever I was looking up the movie just for this, I think I read that it's like the fairy godmother type character is actually Leonardo da Vinci.
Really?
That's deep.
Huh. Is it Cinderella? Is it Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler?
No, that's
Prince Charming.
No, that's my other podcast where I'm covering 50 First Dates.
Right. This was before their string of movies together.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they only did 3 together, and one of them was like I guess late 2000s, because they did The Wedding Singer, they did 50 First Dates, and then they did Blended, which I think a lot of people forget about.
Yeah. I don't even know how I pulled that title, but I know I didn't like that movie.
Yeah, I think the only reason I know it is because it was like a trivia question that on like a trivia thing I was at like last week.
Fun. What movie do you wish you could put in a blender? Blended.
Well, it was literally named the 3 movies that Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler starred in together.
Okay, did you get that question?
No, I was in the audience. So like there was there was a handful of people like on stage that were doing the trivia.
Oh, I see. They pulled up some like participants.
Yeah.
All right.
And then that is all the notes that I have for this minute. Do you guys either have anything else for this minute?
Oh, no, I don't think it pertains to this minute. I just wanted to make the Cinderella connection because Helena Bonham Carter does say that, like, what did she say? A condom is like the modern day Cinderella slipper. So there's another Cinderella tie to this movie.
Yeah, the modern day glass slipper. And did she play the fairy godmother in the live action adaptation, the 2015, or was that a different fairy tale?
I know she was the Queen of Hearts in
well, I know that, but
Alice in Wonderland.
I thought she played a fairy.
Oh, I don't know.
I think she did play the fairy godmother in the 2015 live action Cinderella.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I never saw that.
Maybe Helena Bonham Carter just loves Cinderella.
I mean, she just likes playing weird characters. I know that about her.
Yeah. She's the female Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Well, this was like really the first movie that she played a weird character, because I think before this it was mostly like period dramas. Like
Yeah.
she
Right.
was a much more normal actress, and then she got this, and then after that, not too long after, she got in with Tim Burton, and
Yeah.
then once she hit Tim Burton, she married him and played all his weird characters, and then she got typecast as the weird character actress.
She clearly because
I
he's very
imagine.
out there. I like him. I like him a lot. I like all of his interviews and things he's written, but he's very out there. So to be married to him, she probably is a bit of a character herself, honestly.
Yeah. He seems like a dude that definitely microdoses himself before he writes scripts.
Yeah, and that's all I have. So thank you guys so much for joining me today and all this week. And one more time, for anybody else that hasn't heard you guys before, why don't you go ahead and take a minute to let them know where you can be found online?
We are Culture Shock Podcast. We cover everything in pop culture world, movies, video games, TV, sometimes music. You can find us anywhere you can get any of your podcasts. We also, if you want to follow us on Facebook, it's Culture Shock Podcast. On Instagram, it's Culture Shock 21. On TikTok, it is CS Podcast 21. And on Twitter, X, it's CS Podcast 21 as well. That's where I spend most of my time.
Nice. And as always, I am Bubbawheat, and speaking for my co-host, Lance Stanford, who couldn't be here, we are Fight Club Minutes. You can find us on all the available podcasters out there. We are also doing a contest. If you are listening to this and you like what you hear and you're a fan of this movie, which I imagine you would have to be if you're listening to this, we are doing a giveaway. We are trying to get more podcast reviews. The biggest one, of course, is still Apple Podcasts. But there's also like Good Pods. I think there's a couple other ones that allow for written reviews. And we just want to get more reviews, get our name out there a bit more to help build our audience. And if we hit 25 reviews across Apple Podcasts and as well as our submissions, we will give away a copy of the graphic novel Fight Club 2. And to enter for that, just send a screenshot of your review on whichever podcatcher allows the written reviews, and email that to fightclubminute@gmail.com. And if we hit 25, either just on Apple Podcasts or combined with Apple Podcasts as well as the submissions that we get, then we will do that giveaway. And if we somehow manage to get to 50, we'll also give away a copy of Fight Club 3 to another lucky winner. And we're also part of Rabbit Hole Podcast Network, and you can find a bunch of great podcasts at rabbitholepodcasts.com. And if you would like to support us, there are ways to support the network on that site. So we have a Patreon. And if you join the Patreon, you get this show a full week early as a digest format where all 3 of the episodes are together in one big long episode, complete with the full audio from the minute clips. And you get that a week early for just, I think it's $3 a month. And you get that. And we also have a free trial at Audible. And you can find all that at rabbitholepodcast.com. And of course, we are Fight Club Minute, and this podcast is ending 1 minute at a time.
I am Jack's Raging Bile Duct.